So yeah, let's start back in 2019. Um, 2019 February. So let's start out the story like this. At the time, I was 22. I was smoking weed, um, smoking blunts. That means I had tobacco, smoking cigarillos, smoking, vaping. Never smoked cigarettes, but I was just not really taking care of myself as the way I should. That I know I should be now that I'm 27 years old and have, went through a lot of health complications. I wasn't, looking back, I know now that I wasn't taking care of myself. So, boom, let's rewind back. February. So, funny enough, the story, this, funny enough, the story starts me getting really high this one night. I remember I rolled up a blunt or a joint. It was probably a blunt, and I smoked because that's what I used to do. I used to just smoke multiple times a day. So yeah, that night was no different. I was smoking, and a lot of the times I would get paranoid, like to the point where I'm just like I'm gonna quit smoking. I always felt like this is the last time, but every day I would keep on smoking. But this night I had a very big paranoia, or maybe I was going through what would you call that? Um, Psychosis. Maybe I was going through psychosis. Maybe I was going through psychosis because in my head, um, this voice was telling me that I was dying. Um, I remember being very scared when I heard this voice. And looking back at it, I don't know if it was I mean, it was the paranoia, but I don't know if it was my inner body screaming for help, or it was just my body telling me that I was actually dying because I did have cancer at this point. I just didn't know. So that's how the story starts off. I'm smoking my blunt, I'm getting really high, and I start getting very paranoid, and I start hearing this voice that I'm dying, and it's scaring the fuck out of me. I remember, but as you do when you smoke and you go through your paranoia or your psychosis, you usually just talk yourself down, just go to sleep. So what I did, I just went to sleep, like nothing, like regular paid programming, regular schedule. Just went to sleep. So boom, I wake up the next morning and I feel this pain in my left shoulder. Right here, I feel this pain. Right here, and it's my whole shoulder, right? And it's when I wake up. So automatically, when I wake up, I'm just like, okay, I slept on my arm wrong. That's what it is. I slept on my arm wrong. Um, it's nothing. And yeah, I just treated it like it was nothing. Because I played sports growing up. I played basketball. I played football. Waking up and you're a little sore, it doesn't really. It's something I grew up with, right? So a few weeks go, like a week goes by. I'm still feeling the pain. I'm linking up with like, different shorties. I'm linking up with my friends. I'm still feeling it. And I remember talking to this one girl. I'm like, yo, my shoulder's like hurting a lot. And I remember her saying, you should get it checked out. And I remember that scaring me because I've always had a phobia with doctors. Um, I've always been scared of doctors. I've always been deathly afraid of doctors. I don't know, because I think I'm afraid of dying or the worst possible outcome. Um, but yeah, she told that to me, and I said in my head, I'm just like, nah, it'll go away. In my head, it'll go away. I just shrugged it off. Which, looking back, I should have definitely went to the doctor. Even if it was, let's say I had AIDS or some shit. Like, you want to, if you want to survive some shit, or you should go to the doctor as soon as possible to check out what it is. Me, I'm used to just letting shit heal on my own, or just, not seeing the doctor. I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's a cultural thing. I don't know. But yeah, so that happens. And okay, so this is starting in February. Now we're in we're in September. Okay, so September rolls around. Okay, my shoulder's still hurting, and at this point, it's been getting worse. Now I'm sleeping and I'm getting night sweats. I can only sleep for 2 hours. I'm having like pain in my neck because my lymph nodes are getting really big. So in your neck, you have these lymph nodes um, that, if let's say you're having an infection and you need to fight it off, your lymph nodes would swell. So that was happening to me. My lymph nodes were swelling really big in my neck because my body was trying to fight off this cancer, and I didn't know it at the time. And I was the worst thing. One of the worst things was the night sweats. Imagine going to sleep and just waking up like you just swam 3 laps in the pool, just drenched. Like I was feeling like Michael Phelps when I woke up. Um, so that was very annoying. So February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. So this is 8 months of I'm getting worse. I'm getting different now. My symptoms are increasing. Cause first it was just a painful shoulder. I wasn't getting no night sweats. I wouldn't have no lymph nodes. But once I got to September, I'm having night sweats. I'm having lymph node problems, and I still didn't go to the doctor because deep down I knew that this was some serious shit. I knew this was some serious shit, and I was not ready to face it. I'm gonna keep it 100. I was not ready to face it. I just prayed that I would wake up one morning and it would go away. That was, I was just hoping that it would go away. You know, just numbing myself, numbing the feeling of the bad, you know, the of what potentially it could be, and just numbing that feeling and just telling myself that it's gonna go away and it's gonna get better, which could have killed me if I kept on that path, right? But okay, so September rolls through. I'm trying to get a job, and my friend is working in a restaurant. I forgot the restaurant name, but they serve alcohol at this restaurant. Okay, so I do my interview. I meet with the manager, and I decide I want to have a few drinks. So I grab a drink. I forgot what it was. It must have been maybe it was Hennessy or something. So I drink some Hennessy. Dook, 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 dook. I put down the glass, and I remember feeling this shooting pain in my shoulder. Shooting pain, like and like a pain that's like just, but just all the way over here, like a dull, like shooting pain in my shoulder. And I knew that wasn't normal. I knew that for a fact that wasn't normal. All my hoping shit would get better went out the window. I'm just like, okay, it hurts when I drink alcohol. That's different. That's different. That's different. And it's funny because drinking that day saved my life because it made me take it more serious. I still didn't go to the doctor though. I still didn't go to the doctor. I still didn't go to the doctor. So boom, I think another month goes by. September. It's October. It's October. It's my birthday month. I'm born October 29th. And yeah, now the symptoms are getting worse. Worse and faster, more exponential. So now I can only get 2 hours of sleep a night before the pain in my shoulder is waking me up. And even during those 2 hours of sleep, I'm waking up like Michael Phelps, just drenched, just like I took a shower like bro, like it was the worst. It was torture. The whole from February till October, torture, torture. And oh my gosh. And at this point, I'm telling my dad, I'm telling my mom, my shoulder is very painful. When I'm driving, I can't even drive with this arm. How painful it is. And I did go to the doctor at this point. I went to my family doctor, and it's fucked up because they didn't. They checked my lymph nodes and they said something to the fact that I don't have to really worry about shit type, you know? Something to the fact where it wasn't as serious as it could be, you know? So they gave me hope that it wasn't as serious, you know? So, I go to the doctor and they kind of, it's not, they didn't say anything really. They're just like, you should be, I think you're okay. I don't know if it's because make me they don't want to make me panic. I don't know if it's because they didn't want to be traumatized and tell this young 22-year-old that you could potentially have cancer. I don't know what it was, but yeah, that's how it went. So I kind of just continued. I kept on suffering through the pain, the torture of not sleeping, and looking back, not sleeping is the worst torture. Not sleeping, sleep depravity, however being sleep deprived. One of the worst forms of torture I've ever went through. One of the largest struggles I've ever went to. So now October, my birthday's passed. Now it's November, and now this is where it gets. This is where shit starts picking up. I remember I went to sleep. It was probably middle of November, and I wake up from my sleep screaming like like again, like almost like how it felt like when I was drinking alcohol, just shooting pain in my shoulder, just shooting pain. And at the time, I would look in after a shower. I would look at myself in the mirror. I didn't have tattoos at the time, so it was easier to see. And I was like, I would feel like there was a bulge right here, right? But I don't. You wanna tell yourself you're all right, type shit, right? So I'm just like, I seen a bulge over here, and I would just I couldn't even tell you. I think in my head it was just a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety, and I didn't know how to handle fear and anxiety um, the right way. The way I was handling it was numbing, was avoidance, was turning the other way. Which hindsight, it's facing it head on. Okay, for anybody watching this that is going through, it could be anything, just anything you're afraid of. It's easier said than done. Um, it's easier and it's more beneficial if you just, despite feeling your anxiety, despite feeling your fear, because those are normal emotions, just to face it head on and get to an answer, right? So, I wake up excruciating pain. I'm basically crying. I'm basically like crying, and at this point I had to go to the emergency. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I can't even sleep. I'm waking up in the night like screaming because it's painful. So I go to the ER. Boom, 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 bap. I tell them everything, and I also tell them that it hurts when I drink alcohol, because that really stood out to me, right? So they're like, boom, okay, we got to take an x-ray. So they put me in the express line, and I get my x-ray done, and I'm waiting for my results. And the doctor walks in. He's like, boom, we got to show you something. And keep in mind, my dad's with me. He drove me to the emergency. Yeah, he drove me to the emergency. So boom. So doctor comes in and he tells me they found a mass in my chest the size of a tennis ball, and it was pushing my nerves, and that's what was causing the pain. So the ball was so big that it was pushing against all the nerves in what would you call this? My collarbone, my shoulder area. Um, that it was creating that pain. So it was near it was near on this. It was like near my heart. It was just the size of a tennis ball. That's what they told me. And when I heard that, it was funny because I kind of felt relieved. Like, okay, they found what it was. It wasn't like, because keep in mind, from February to now November, I'm trying to remedy my symptoms myself, and nothing's working. Right? Nothing's working. I don't know what's going on. So to finally get one step closer to fixing the problem, which is finding out what's going on, is I was happy about that. But at the same time, I was deathly afraid because a mass the size of a tennis ball in my left chest area, so big it was pushing um, what do you call it, my collarbone area, that it was causing me pain. So boom, boom, straight after that, I get admitted into the hospital because they're trying to see if they can do a biopsy. A biopsy is basically where they take a sample of the mass tissue, and they take that sample and see what it is. So I spent a night in the hospital, and the night in the hospital, how was that? It was filled with fear, knowing that there's a mass in my chest. It made it hard to sleep, even more anxiety, because now I'm preparing for. In my head, it's cancer already. In my head, it's it's cancer already because I'm feeling all my symptoms, and this isn't normal. I know it's not normal, and the doctor actually came back and was very congratulating me on all the symptoms I told her, even the one with the it hurt when I drink alcohol, because she said that was a key. That's a very important symptom, especially for Hodgkin's lymphoma. At the time, I didn't know I had Hodgkin's lymphoma, but that's a symptom of Hodgkin's lymphoma. So they send me home, and they say in 2 days you're gonna have to do a biopsy. So 2 days rolls around. I go to the doctor, or I go to the hospital, and they perform this biopsy. Basically, they take a big needle and just shove it. They had to shove it through the front part of my chest and reach all the way down to the tissue, cut a piece, and take it out. And that shit hurt for a week because they have to penetrate my lung. They have to penetrate through my lung to grab this piece of tissue. So just imagine that. It hurt. That's why I think that's what I hate about doctors and hospitals is I know I'm gonna have to get poked. I know I'm gonna have to do some uncomfortable shit. I think that's what it is. That's why I'm so afraid to go to the doctor. Back then, now I'm still afraid, but I learned my lesson. So they take the biopsy. Um, Funny enough, I just remembered I had an I was developing this eye infection, or I've developed this eye infection where I remember I scratched my eye, and it just kept on getting itchier and itchy and itchier and itchier until my vision was blurring. And I think that's because my immune system couldn't even defend itself against that. So I remember I got the biopsy and I was also having eye problems and that my vision was like going away. Like I have 20/20 vision, so when I experienced blurry vision, that freaked me the fuck out. Let's be honest, like that freaked me the fuck out. So I was also going through that, and I just remember preparing myself for the results and preparing myself for if it was cancer and if it was nothing. But at the end, I knew it was cancer. I just knew it was like I just knew it was cancer. But a few days later, my the doctor rings us up, tells us that they got the results, and my dad wanted to come. So, boom, boom, we pull up to the doctor, and the doctor sits us down, me and my dad, and he says the result, and he has this little, he has the clipboard, and he flips the clipboard, and he says you tested positive for Hodgkin's lymphoma, and my dad's like, okay, good, right? And I'm like I look at him like, what do you mean good? That's cancer. He's like, that's cancer? Because I think in his head, if I had cancer, they'd be like, you have cancer. But they said this medical term, Hodgkin's lymphoma. And in his head, it was like, okay, cool, it's not cancer. But I'm like, Dad, that's cancer. And he's like, what? So the doctor explains, yeah, he's only going to live till he's 35, 40. And in my head, hearing this shit, I'm just like, this shit's surreal. I ain't like, this shit's a movie. Like I didn't know what to think. I was just like, damn, like I prepared myself for this, um, this potential medical emergency, but it just when the doctor finally said you tested positive, the tissue came back that it was cancer. It was like, damn, okay, boom, I really have cancer. So we went home. I remember feeling alone. I remember feeling, I think I went to Walmart and I remember feeling like I'm walking around right now and nobody knows that I'm basically like dying. Like, and I felt like at 22, at the time, a lot of things in my life I quit. Like, okay, so boom, growing up I wanted to be a basketball player. That didn't happen for me. Growing up, um, when I was younger, I also pursued YouTube. That didn't happen. I also pursued music. That didn't happen. So now I'm 22. I'm so lost. I'm so depressed because earlier, I don't know, maybe a year earlier, I broke up with an ex, and that shit ruined me. It was my first like real heartbreak. So I was just lost, like lost, and now I'm about to die. In my head, I'm like, I'm about to die now. Like, God, really, please, like, I just remember thinking, like, like I really lived my life wrong, like, cause I have anxiety. I grew up with anxiety my whole life. I grew up being scared of other people's opinions my whole life. And it's funny, when I was dying, I was like, wow, I really spent my energy being afraid of what people thought, being afraid, letting my anxiety rule my life to where I never really got the chance to enjoy it. Um, and now I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die, and I didn't accomplish nothing I set foot to do on this earth. I don't even have a child. I remember that was a big one. Like, I don't even have a kid. I don't even have something to leave behind. So these are just things rolling in my head. So that's how I found out I had cancer. That was the story. In a part two, I'll um, explain how it was to go through treatment. And yeah, I'll do that in a part two. If you guys enjoyed it, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And if you're going through hard times right now, man, if you're going through hard times right now, even if it's just keep faith, keep faith. That's all I could, that's, that's what kept me, that's what kept me good. Keeping faith. It's so funny because, before this even happened, I stopped believing in God. I stopped believing in God. Um, I remember I was in university, and I remember the exact moment I stopped believing in God is when my father went to prison, and I was like, I remember I cried, and I was like, yo, God isn't real. Like you just, like shit isn't. My life has been shit, and now, you know, how it just shit piles up, and it just breaks you, and you just give up, and you're just like, God doesn't exist. But interestingly enough, when I had cancer, that's when I grabbed onto God the most. That's when I grabbed onto God the most. And honestly, He never left me. That's how I feel. Like, even in the times where I just given up on myself, given up on just having faith, I felt like I was still being looked after. I felt like um, I was still being taken care of, and that's my honest feeling. Cause so funny enough, on like February is when my shoulder started hurting. So that means I've had cancer for the cancer was growing for who knows how long. Okay, and I waited months and months and months and months without treatment, and I'm still here. And now I have a kid, I have a wife, and I feel blessed. I feel blessed, even though you know, sometimes things happen to where it looks like, damn, like it's looking really bad, but I don't know, man. Just keep faith. Just keep faith. Even when, things are terminal, keep faith. Keep faith, man. Actually, I don't even want to speak on people that have a terminal a terminal illness, because I never I never experienced like I never experienced that. So I don't want to say just have faith, but I would imagine in that situation me having faith because that's all I know. You know, in my moments where I thought everything was over, it was just faith. You know, we're all gonna die one day. We all have our time. You know, so it's not like, you know, I cheated death. I didn't cheat death. I just got it just wasn't my time. I got a few more years. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that was my experience. Hope y'all enjoyed that. Um, yeah, see y'all later.